And now, if you would, let me introduce you to my world record lake trout. Hey folks, do me a favor, practice CPR, catch, photo, and release. The future of fishing is truly in your hands. There, on your left, you can almost see it. One of the most magnificent sights on the planet, Lake Athabasca nestled just below the 60th parallel. Lake Athabasca hasn't changed in nearly 1,000 years with its pristine shorelines, pure crystal clear water you can actually drink, and countless fish. Boy, has she got fish, that is for everyone willing to travel to Otherside River Lodge. From the magnificent world-class northern pike that prowl these waters to the oldest and biggest lakers on the globe, Athabasca has it all. Otherside River Lodge caters to the true sportsman seeking an all-American plan guided package with 3 incredible meals a day and memories you won't find anywhere else. Records have been broken by guests at Otherside River Lodge in the past. You could be next. Book your dream trip of a lifetime to Otherside River Lodge, where fishing dreams do come true. Call Cliff or Stella toll-free at 1-877-922-0957. All right, sports fans, let me know if it's not working. I'm going to assume that it is. I'll be watching the feed here. If we don't have an audio track, somebody please let me know. I've certainly had my hands full tonight trying to get this thing to run. It says it's working good. This is Bob Masacomer. I want to welcome you to Fish and Sticks tonight. I've already done this show once. I did it over on my personal page. We ran through some equipment upgrades. We made some changes, technology changes. And with those come just a whole bunch of stuff. And we clicked something wrong and sent it over to that page. And so here we are tonight, and we're going to be doing it here on Fish and Sticks. And I'm so glad you stuck with us. So let's have a little bit of fun. Hey, there isn't a week goes by that I don't get a phone call, a text, a message, or something from somebody asking me very pertinent information, very valuable information to them regarding certain lakes, regarding certain species, regarding equipment, where to travel, how to travel, when to travel. All of these things are part of the vocabulary that are necessary for somebody like myself to sit in front of these cameras and explain to you folks what we do, at least how we do what we do. Not necessarily the right way, the wrong way, the only way, but what we do to get it done. And if you follow me for 35 years doing television, you know we shoot totally authentic. We don't stage anything, never have, never will. Probably the only ones in the industries that can make that claim. That being said, the gentleman called me the other night and asked me a few questions, and they were very specific to a location, very specific to species. And we spent a little bit of time on the phone, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, chatting, and the old proverbial dog ate my homework took place. He took notes, and the notes are no longer available, and he texted me, and I said, tell you what, let's just do it on the show. That's what this show's about anyway. It's about interaction. It's about people being in tune with learning how to do things, when to do things, why to do things. We're going to focus tonight on smallmouth. He has questions that are pertinent to smallmouth and muskies. I'm not going to give you the dates that he's going in there, but I can tell you that the day he's going in there, these seasons, the peak of the seasons don't coincide. So what we're going to try to do is walk him through the history that we've done on smallmouth on this show, and then we will move forward on muskies and give him a broad spectrum of information, techniques, lure choices, and so on and so forth that he can apply when he goes. Now, remember this. We're going to be talking specifically about Osborne Bay, Century Lodge, Osborne Bay, Eagle Lake. But what you're seeing here tonight transcends to many different resources. So if you see something you're familiar with, or you see us doing something that you might have tried, not succeeded, think about what we talk about when we're doing it, and think about how we're applying the technique itself, maybe where we're applying it, and change up what you're doing a little bit and see if you can get it to succeed. Fishing is literally, it's a chemistry. To be successful at fishing is an extreme chemistry. You have to do many things right more often than not. And if you do that, then the success is, it's pretty much up to you. And I'm hoping that we can help you get there. That being said, folks, join in the conversation tonight. If you will, tap in on our Facebook page, and I'll try to monitor it tonight. I'm running solo, so I'll try to handle it, answer your questions, and see if we can get some more valuable information that's not necessarily what we want to know. And do me a favor, tonight while you're on here, because I want to see who the loyal hearts are, send me a message tonight and let me know where you're viewing. Where are you viewing the show from? Are you in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Chicago? Are you overseas? Where are you? We'd like to know. So if you would, send me just a note, and it'd be kind of nice to know where the listeners and the viewers are. It would be really fun. That being said, please share what we're doing. Sharing what we're doing is a big throttle for Facebook and YouTube. When you share something, they've got algorithms that count the shares, they count the minutes viewed, they do all of these things. It's a back end work in the analytics, and they monitor what we're doing. The more we get people to watch, the longer you watch the show, then we get positioned a little bit better, and we're working on some things moving forward for next year, which will even be more fun. But it's not much to ask. If you don't mind, I would really appreciate it, and we would like to see you there. Tonight we're going to be talking about the variables, the different things that that people are going to encounter when they're on the system. Okay, we're going to be talking specifically smallmouth tonight, so we're going to be looking at the lure choices that we're using in the seasons that we're fishing these. And because we've always shot our show in an educational format, we're going to depend on this footage. And if you pay attention, listen to the nuances, watch what's going on, watch the rods, the reels, the lines. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the structures, why we're pulling certain lures on certain structures. But I had Randy Rich and Kay sat me down many years ago, and Randy said to me, or Rich said to me, why don't you come up and shoot a smallmouth show? And I literally told both of them that, guys, I've been fishing muskies here, I mean, for a long, long time, but I've never ever tried to shoot a smallmouth show. So if I come up and shoot a smallmouth show and it doesn't succeed, don't use it as a measure against my skill sets in terms of smallmouth. Just know that I have to learn like everybody else does in order to succeed on the system. That being said, let me show you how my experiences started when we decided to challenge smallmouth bass on Osborne Bay.
Fished it.
Uh-huh. Oh. It was there too. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it was grass. Maybe I'll buy that. Maybe it was grass. I just picked up on it. That extra weight was there, which is all we've been feeling. You haven't felt any thumps or anything. You just lift your rod tip and they're there. Every now and then you'll see the line tighten up a little bit. If you're paying attention, one might have it and run with it, or be running with it. Oh, come on, girl. Oh, another horse. Oh, look at this, Tom.
Monster.
Oh. Come here, baby.
How thick they are.
Oh, these are absolutely huge smallmouth, folks. Oh, these are giant fish. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're at Century Lodge on Osborne Bay in Eagle Lake, where I have never fished smallmouth in my entire life. I've caught big smallmouth here on my musky baits. We're here with Tom Seward today from Warden's Lures, Poe's Yakima, catching giant smallmouth. Don't go anywhere. We're right back with more smallmouth, Century Lodge. Yes! Hey, like I told you, I haven't fished smallmouth there, but wouldn't that crack you up? Wouldn't that just pump you up? Wouldn't that just make you want to catch more smallmouth? It did me. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Now, we mentioned Tom Seward. Tom Seward is a lure designer that designed the Timber Tiger and many other lures over in the hard bodies of the Pose family and Warden's family. And Tom was an excellent guy to have in the boat. I come to learn as we were moving forward in this shooting with Tom, as you will learn watching tonight, that everybody's expectations of fish are slightly different. I've always got to focus on big fish. I've always got to focus on trying to fish the upper end of the system. And Tom just wanted to go smallmouth. So when Tom approached me and said, hey, I would love to come up and do the smallmouth thing with you, I said, absolutely, bring it on. And he's an incredible guy. This is where we're at, folks. Bring her back. Oh, just a minute. Hold tight. Hi, everyone. Bob Mason over here. You know, I've got a place, a very, very special place in my heart. It's Osborne Bay.
It's been excellent. Randy did a great job guiding service.
Randy started taking us out when I was 10, and we've been catching big muskies ever
The
since.
accommodations here are fantastic.
Check out Century Lodge on Osborne Bay. Come on, bring her back. Hey, I want to let you know we got folks from Toronto, Wisconsin. We got folks from Milwaukee. We got folks from Fargo. These are people chiming in, letting us know. I've got private messages coming in, and I've got tweets on the Facebook page. Private messages put us in Cleveland, Cincinnati. This is cool stuff, folks. To know we've got reach like this, people are watching, listening to what we're doing. As I said, Tom's a lure designer. He's one of these people that if you've been around the industry at all, you know the Tom Seward name. He's pretty instrumental in building some pretty cool baits. But I don't think Tom's quite caught as many big smallmouth as I have. Listen.
I got a fish. It's a good
Get
one.
her?
Yeah. Just
Molly?
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice one.
Nice fish, too.
Real slow. No hit, no nothing.
I'm sorry?
No hit, no nothing.
Just
real,
ate it, huh?
Just real slow.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Big fish.
I like silver if I don't lose it here.
Oh, you'd be all right. Man, these fish are just gigantic.
Yeah, I know. They're the... Barely got it.
Yeah. Take your time.
Oh, man, it's hooked in the nose.
It's okay. Take your time. You'll be fine.
What a monster. Barely hooked. No wonder I didn't feel it. Hope I don't lose him. God, this is a big one. Come on, big fish.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It actually was a butt, Bob. Look at that.
Yeah.
I just butted it. That's why I didn't feel anything. But
Either that or it hit it in the front and the bait swung around. Might have hit the front of the bait.
yeah, they're just not real excited about it.
If we can get the weather to warm up, I mean, it's really, really cold, so if we get the weather to warm up, these fish might turn on, and we'll get a bunch of those. Beautiful fish.
Got the belly and everything.
Yep.
Beautiful.
See, now that one's got a torn up tail.
Yeah.
A little bit of a torn up tail.
Split. Boy, they're sure pretty.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Fetzo. Boy, they're so thick.
Soft, soft, soft hits. There we go. Oh, big fish. Big smallmouth. Look at this thing. Oh. Yes.
Fat.
That's the second or third one on this tube. I bumped that first one swimming over the rocks, and I threw back in there, and one lightly hit it. Thank you, girl. Thank you. There you go. That's a nice chunky fish. Look at the belly on that thing. Nice chunky fish. Now to get back in there. They're sitting right on that face, Tom, where that wind's blowing in there. They could be on the face of every one of these rocks in here. Because that one, I swam that tube up over that rock right there, that one came up and hit it. There's one right here. Look at this.
That's
Another horse.
Be careful.
Oh.
Nice chunky.
Folks, this is smallmouth. I don't care where you're fishing on the globe. Smallmouth fishing doesn't get much better than this right here. Oh, awesome. Absolutely. Folks, let me tell you just a little bit about what's going on out here. I'm going to hold the boat into the wind here for Tom as we move forward. You know, you go fishing, or at least you try to go fishing, and you try to set yourself up to fish the way you want to fish. Not necessarily the way the fish want to feed, or the presentation that they like to see. You want to go in there and throw crankbaits, you want to go in there and throw top water, whatever. That's what Tom and I did here. We came to Century with one specific idea in mind, and that was to fish pre-spawn smallmouth that we could throw top waters and crankbaits to. We got in here, folks, the water temperature plummeted 6-7 degrees when we got here. And as you can see, the winds are howling right now. They've been howling since day one. So what we've done is got up on top of the reefs and adjusted. We've taken tubes, we've got crankbaits that are running shallow enough not to make contact with so many of the rocks, but yet swim their way through it, like the timber tiger and the fat fish. And of course the tube I'm throwing around here, I'm swimming through the little cracks in the rocks. But you really have to be prepared to slow down, take a look at the environment around you, and adjust for it. We've got a box that we carry called an Angler's Edge and a Marine Edge. It's by Speed Tech Corporation, and we've been watching that thing trying to focus on when we want to fish. Barometer was at 29.36 this morning when we started. It was on the rise. You can see the sky starting to loosen up for us. That means the barometer is on the rise. And if that happens, and if that takes place, these fish should come up higher and higher in the water column up on top of these warming rocks. Tom caught that first big one on a crankbait, then he lost another one, then he had another one. I just stuck two right here. We're going to work our way around this entire reef and piecemeal it, if you will, and see if we can take some more of these fish. These are genuinely big fish. When you're derricking fish that are 4.5, possibly 5 pound smallmouth, there's nothing wrong with that.
Here's one. It's the same thing. There's no hit. They're just on it.
They're just there. Yep. What do you mean it's... Oh yeah, just a small one.
They're all so chunky,
We
though.
live in a spoiled world, Tom.
Yeah. We only want big ones.
Only one big ones, huh?
Well, we've only seen one actually truly small one so far.
Yeah.
He's bigger than he looks. No, it's bigger than it looks.
Oh, those are nice fish.
And their bellies are still puffed out too.
Yep.
Pretty. Goodbye, baby.
See where the buoy is right there? It's right there that we're fishing. We're coming up behind that thing. See the crest? You can see the whitewater there. I'll move you up there, Tom. Half of these fish or more are coming on that back side. You're changing rods back there, changing a lot of colors, huh?
Well, changing depth too, so I don't bury in the rocks. I just wondered why there wasn't any on this other side, because we haven't really...
As Tom said, he was changing lures and rods back there. Now, the reason he's doing that is because he could change the depth of the lures. The Timber Tiger, in particular, comes as a depth tracker device, if you will, as a 4-foot, 6-foot, 8-foot, 10-foot version. So you can choose the lure you want based on the kind of structure you're fishing. Now you saw how shallow we got up on that reef. Well, we want to have these lures brushed just above the rocks, not necessarily making contact with all the rocks, because there's moss on them, and that moss will cling to everything, and you want to have a clean presentation coming back. It's okay to hit the peak of a point or something, a rock point, as you're going through, but you don't want to scrub the rocks coming back. So Tom's choice in lures was the Timber Tiger, and it got him to fish about 4 to 6 feet deep for this particular version that we were fishing on up there. When you look at an average guy's crankbait box, this is what we're talking about in terms of lures. You want to at least take with you all the colors you can possibly fathom. From the brightest to the most natural and realistic looking. You have no idea what the fish are actually going to respond to. And the more you have in terms of arsenal, the better you're going to be in terms of presentation. And you want to stay with those flat nose, those short-lipped lures. That's going to mean they're running shallow. And they're also going to have a pretty vibrant wobble to them. Those flat fronts have a tendency to be very vibration, and that is disseminated through the water, and the fish can respond to it through their lateral line sensitivity and come up and take full advantage of it. It's probably one of the best things you can do is throw crankbaits. Tom throwing crankbaits was able to fan cast. He was able to cover a lot more water than I was with the lure selection that I had going. But I was able to probe the water. I was able to go down and finesse my way through the rocks. And the reason it made a difference is because, in my opinion, is because those bigger fish will lay down in those cracks and crevices. You're going to hear us say cracks and crevices more than once tonight, because it's a critical area for these fish, and they use them all the time. And if you don't think I'm accurate, well, just watch this.
It's loaded with rocks.
There's a fish.
Yep, it's big, whatever it is. It's big.
Big smallmouth.
Is that a smallmouth?
Oh, is it ever?
I sound like a dummy. That's when.
This is a big smallmouth.
Jeez. It's awesome. You sure it's a smallmouth?
It's a very big smallmouth. What do you mean, am I sure?
It's so massive looking.
Is it ever?
They're out on this corner. That's why
Fish,
the other.
this fish here is pushing 5 pounds.
Yeah, more.
It's awesome. You sure?
It's definitely big. Oh,
It's
he's caught
over
in the
5.
chin. Yeah, he's caught in the chin. No wonder he's like, feels like a 10
This
pounder.
this fish is 6 pounds, Tom. Very, very close. Want me to get a picture of it?
Yeah, he's caught under the chin. Yeah,
That's
it's
okay.
Really,
I'll get
really
a camera
big
out.
one. It's super strong because it's caught under the chin.
Take your time. We're in good water.
Jeez. Definitely a big one.
Huh?
It's definitely a big one. Now get him.
That's over 5.
Wow, what a big smallmouth. My God. Well, that's the biggest one I've ever caught, I think, right here. If I can get in his mouth here.
Careful.
I can't even hold him.
Big fish.
Wow. What a brute. And it's thin-bellied, too. Get the pliers. These fish have most likely already spawned, right?
Yeah.
This thing would have really put some. Can never get him out without hurting him.
That's a big smallmouth.
Yeah, that's for sure. I gotta be careful here. I don't want to hurt that beauty. There we go.
Drop it down a little bit, Tom.
It's apparently,
She spawned out.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a post-spawn
Man,
fish.
it's still heavy. Wow.
That fish is easy 5.5 pounds,
Yeah,
man.
what
That's
a-
a big
it's so-
smallmouth.
It's so thick right through here.
Man, that's a big, big fish.
What a beautiful fish. Jeez.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, but that, yeah, that is just too much. That
Yeah.
is a beautiful fish. God, what a monster. Look at this back on that thing.
No,
That is probably the biggest, heftiest one I've ever got a hold of.
that's a very, very big smallmouth.
Well, and it is a big smallmouth. Todd, to answer your question, yes, this is the very first piece that you're seeing. It's the very first time that I've ever fished the lake for smallmouth, and my goal was to go in there early in the season. My focus was to try to find pre-spawn fish. Now, if you understand pre-spawn fish at all, you understand that the fish get tight. They'll be harder to locate in terms of what structures they're using, but they will be tight. When you find them, you can really clean house. Now, your question was, and it's one of the same questions that presented this program tonight from the gentleman who called me, what do I do later on in the season? Well, we're going to move forward in video here in time, and you're going to see us move further up in the season, and you're going to see some of the changes. But here's what happens to justify what we're talking about. The fish congregate very heavily during pre-spawn. These are legal fish to catch. The season's open. They're a lot of fun. They're not on beds. They're not doing anything of that nature. The females and males are both coming up. They're both feeding. And here's something I should note for you smallmouth fishermen out there. You can have in 2 casts, let's say you catch 2 6-pounders, back to back, 2 casts, okay? You could have one of them being a male and one of them being a female. That's right. You cannot judge the sex of a smallmouth bass. They're like catfish. You can't do it by size. So you have a smallmouth bass that's 6 or 7 pounds that could be 20, 25 years old. That's an enormously old fish, enormously fragile fish. But we're not bothering them during that spawning period. Now they move forward in the lake that we're fishing Osborne Bay. We're fishing in a part of the lake that is very dark. It's very hard to see anything, so consequently we can't sight fish and we have to feel and probe our way through. To answer your question, no. When these fish come up, the pre-spawn period, they do the spawning. As soon as they're done spawning, the females back off. They'll drop down in the column a little bit. They'll recover. The males stay up shallow. They begin foraging with a fair amount of aggression. And as you move into early July, your big females are rebounding and they're spread out. So you got to chunk and wind and grind a little bit more. But those big females are back. Now, we're going to show you video moving forward that we don't have big fat bellies. And that's because our fish had already finished their spawning ritual. So let's just take a look and see what we got coming up here for you, because we got more smallmouth action coming with Tom Seaward.
Loaded with rocks.
There's a fish.
Yeah, it's big, whatever it is. It's big.
Big smallmouth.
Is that a smallmouth?
Oh,
I
is
hate
it
to say
ever?
it. I sound like a dummy. That's when.
This is a big smallmouth.
Jeez. It's awesome. You sure it's a smallmouth?
Oh, it's a very big smallmouth. What do you mean by sure?
It's so massive looking. They're out on this corner. That's where the other.
This fish here is pushing 5 pounds.
Yeah, or more. Yeah. It's definitely big. Oh,
It's
he's caught
over
in the
5.
chin. Yeah, he's caught in the chin. No wonder he's like, feels like a 10-pounder.
This fish is 6 pounds, Tom. Very, very close. You want me to get a picture of it?
Yeah, he's caught under the chin. Yeah,
That's
it's
okay.
Really,
I'll get
really
a camera
big
out.
one. It's super strong because it's caught under the chin.
Take your time. We're in good water.
Jeez. Definitely a big one.
Huh?
It's definitely a big one. Now we get him.
That's over 5.
Wow, what a big smallmouth. My God. Well, that's the biggest one I've ever caught, I think, right here. If I can get in his mouth here.
Careful.
I can't even hold him.
Big fish. Wow.
What a brute. And it's thin-bellied, too. Get the pliers. These fish have most likely already spawned, right?
Yeah.
This thing would have really put some. Can never get him out without hurting him.
That's a big smallmouth.
Yeah, that's for sure. I gotta be careful here. I don't want to hurt that beauty. There we go.
Drop it down a little bit, Tom.
It's apparently.
She spawned out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a post-spawn
Man,
fish.
it's still heavy. Wow.
That fish is easy 5.5 pounds,
Yeah,
man.
what
That's
a-
a big
it's so-
smallmouth.
It's so thick right through here.
Yeah, that's a big, big fish.
What a beautiful fish. Jeez.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, let that. Yeah, that is just too much. That
Yeah.
is a beautiful fish. God, what a monster. Look at this. Back on that thing.
No,
That is probably the biggest, heftiest one I've ever got a hold of.
that's a very, very big smallmouth. Oh, look at that. Oh, big fish. Big fish.
This side over here?
That is a 50 fish. Folks, you're seeing it right now. My 100th just came in the net at Witch Bay Camp. Holy smokes, Rocky. She ate that thing.
The summer sun never sets upon the Alaskan pike of the Unoco, in the heart of breathtaking Alaska. Evenings will be shared reliving the battles of Munster Pike. The Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Hunt is on, aboard the 67-foot luxury houseboat, and you're in command. If you're not, you should be. Contact the Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Adventures by calling 800-440-7453 or email them at mstpa50@gmail.com. Hi, everybody. I see we got a few people that are chiming in tonight. That's kind of nice. I'd like to see it. Love to see the comments and questions coming in. And over on my private message stuff, the people that are PMing me on the site, boy, we've got viewers all over the place. This is pretty good. I like this. This is a lot of fun. Hey, Jim Grackham mentioned something in the post that the fish respond or relate to currents going into the season. That could be true. In the basin that we're talking about, Osborne Bay, isn't current. It's not a current active area. There's just not a lot of current, and you get some wind-induced currents, and the fish can stack up on structures based on that. But in this particular part of the lake that we're fishing, it's pretty calm. It's pretty quiet. I'm going to take you in and introduce you to a friend of mine, Al Henneman. Al Henneman got in the boat with me as a result of literally buying a boat from my oldest son, Mike. He bought a Ranger, a fisherman loaded 620 or 621 from him. And my son called me and he says, "Dad, I got this gentleman that wants to buy a boat. Is there any way you could take him fishing?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'll take him fishing." And Al was thinking about 4 or 5 hours someplace. Well, I took him for 4 or 5 days someplace. And where did I take him? I took him to Century Lodge.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
nice fish.
Can you say pig? Oh, this is a 6-pound smallmouth. Look at this girl. Come here, baby.
Wow.
Come. Come. Over here. Come here.
That's what you came for.
Yes, indeed.
Pretty good. 20 minutes, you're on them.
Come here. Come here. I got 6-pound line. Oh, absolutely. That is a monster smallmouth.
Good one.
Did you get her? Is that what we're looking for, Al?
Look at the size of that. Fabulous.
Hey folks, Century Lodge, giant smallmouth, and I mean giant smallmouth coming right here on Simply Fishing. Don't you go anywhere, because you see this girl right here? She's going back, and we're going to get you some more. Al Hinneman from Woodbury, Minnesota, and myself right here at Century Lodge. Smallmouth, giant smallmouth. Don't go anywhere. Yes! That's a big smallmouth. Holy smokes, Rocky. Must be a tournament.
For families, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead. I knew you would.
Whoa. Nice. You're right up next to that rock?
Yep, right in it. In the crack.
Jeez.
Where are we in there, huh? There we go. Those are nice smallmouth.
Beautiful.
There you go, babe. Thank you. See the cracks coming down here?
Yep.
Just throw it up in there and just work your way out the cracks. That one was out a ways too. I had that one pick it up just before that, a little bit further back, but she didn't come back. She just tapped it one time. Folks, we're going to turn the boat here so Al can keep fishing these ribbon of rock we got coming off the shore. And I'm going to take a couple of seconds and I'm going to show you how we're rigging these tubes without taking a brand new one out of the box. I'm going to do it for you right now with this one, and then I'm going to re-rig. But what we do with this, because we're throwing a unique jig head on this, we're not throwing a flip it. You loser?
Yeah.
We're not throwing the type of jig that you would normally throw on tubes. We're throwing a standard mushroom head jig. A good friend of mine, Pete Davids, makes for me. You know, extra long Gamakatsu hook on this thing that makes a big, huge difference. Super sharp, and of course we go go barbless for it. There's no barb on our hooks. But what you want to do is take the jig right here, and basically you run your jig up into the tube till it hits the head. Once you hit the head, you poke this shallow eye through it. Well, that's going to give you a hole right here, right where the jig is actually going to be in. I'm going to do this for you a little later, step by step, but your line is going to initially go through the jig, through the tube, through that hole, and your line's going to be dangling out here, just as if you see it going up the line when a fish has got it. That gives you the freedom to tie to your jig without being all bundled up trying to get through the soft plastic, because the eye of the jig itself is so shallow. But what we're trying to do, and it does work, what we're trying to do is mask everything in the jig head. I push my jig head back up in there where it belongs. I simply tug on my line, and you can see where my line would normally come right out of the same hole that I initially put in it, that I ran my line through. My knot, everything is below the soft plastics. I can fish through cabbage, I can fish around rocks. I don't have anything to cling around there, a knot for instance. So it gives you a real clean presentation, and that's what we're doing to catch these smallmouth right now here at Osborne Bay on Eagle Lake. It's a very, very deadly technique, and it's an easy way to rig. Later on, like I say, I'm going to show you step by step. I've got to dig out a tackle box to do it, but I'm going to show you step by step how to do it.
Ryan, Todd, Nick, thanks for tuning in. We like to have you watching what we're doing. And to answer that topwater bite question, as the season progresses, up until the water temperatures get about 66, 68 degrees, especially in these dark systems like Osborne, your topwater bite is phenomenal. To be perfectly candid with you, we have so much material here tonight. I chose not to pull the topwater footage. We just have way too much of it. But let me tell you this about the topwater. When Al first got in the boat with me and we got up to the lake and it was dead calm, we got everything put together. My cameraman says, "Are we heading out?" And I said, "Yeah, we are." So we went up, got sandwiches quick. We wanted to go directly to the water instead of eating. We got out there, we ate our sandwiches on the way, we shut the boat off, and we stood up, and Al says, "What are we going to throw?" I said, "We're going to throw chuggers." Chuggers, folks, are topwater baits, and good chugger is worth the money that you'll spend for it anytime. You can also throw Sahara Spook, the walking type baits, which are baby giant jackpots or baby attack dogs, really baby attack dogs, and they work very well. But long story short, Al makes his cast up in there, and I says to Al when the lure hits the water, I says to him, I says, "Al," I says, "what's your biggest smallmouth to date?" I don't know Al. The first time I had met him was when he got in the truck with me to head up. And he says, "About 3, maybe 3.5 pounds." And just as he said that, go, whoa, this thing just gets eaten, and it come flying out of the water. And to make a long story short, we opened the show with it, and Al's next biggest smallmouth was 5.5 pounds. So that being said, the topwater bite is phenomenal from anytime those water temperatures hit about 52 degrees all the way up into the probably 67, 68, maybe even 70 degrees. Just remember that the fish, its comfort zone is, the threshold is below 65. So it could be 68, 70 degrees up on top and be down below in the perfect comfort zone for the fish. So consequently, that being said, they'll come up that foot and a half to get it. They don't have a problem doing that. They'll do it in and out all day long. In this particular case, in Osborne Bay, I think I'm going to go to chuggers just about without question. I've just done so well on chuggers there, and you can work them really slow. You can really concentrate on covering the structure you're fishing. Plus, you can go fish the rice with them to a degree, and that is also fun. Let's catch up with Al. I think I'll lose this jig. Oh, I hit tree limb. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, that's a good fish too.
Yeah.
I hit that tree limb just as it was going down.
Oh, wow.
When you hear that go thump.
Yeah.
There we go. This one I can't derrick. Getting too big.
That's pretty fat too.
Man, yes. That's a female.
Yeah.
Look at her. She has not spawned yet.
Right. Yeah.
So we have got big girls in here that haven't spawned. Look at the size of that smallmouth. Oofta. Absolutely gorgeous. Yep. Get her off?
Yep.
Good. I felt that thing hit that tree limb in there. Just right on the edge of it. And just ding, there it was.
Oh, I got one.
Good.
Jeez, I thought I was snagged, and it's a nice fish too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Nothing wrong
little
with
tail
her.
dance there.
Huh?
A little tail dance.
Yeah.
All right. right on. That's that is big.
Get a hold of her. That's at least 5. At least 5.
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
Big fish.
That is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe even 5.5. It's a big fish.
I think it's going to be 6 by the time it gets in the water.
It's a big fish. Good fish.
That was great. You know, and I bounced it on that rock, and it fell in a little crevice, and I just pulled it out and it just went down.
Yeah.
Went down the side, and I could see where the rock came down. I pulled it. I'm underneath the rock.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden it started to move.
Oh.
A rock that moves.
A big rock.
A big rock. That was.
Right off the rock, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we're on top of them. I'm surprised we're not banging on them with the boat.
Oh boy, you're going to bang rocks. If you're smallmouth fishing, you're going to bang rocks. Now, we mentioned the timber, okay? The timber is key, especially as these fish start to spread out in the post-spawn period. These fish will start to cling to the fallen timber, and especially timber that's down around these reefs. One of the reefs that I've fished smallmouth in, now I've fished it for a number of years. You saw the very first time I've been there, and as we progress forward, I found a submerged rock pile. Of course, it's submerged, it's rock, but a rock pile beneath the surface that has a lot of timber on it, a lot of timber, and it's holding some giant fish, really, really big fish. But as you can see, Al was having a good time. Just don't know what to tell you. When you can go to a system like that and catch that many big fish, and holy smokes. But you know something, folks? You got to have the right rods.
Hi everyone, Bob.m here for Grant Rods. You know, musky fishing's a tough deal, and the job's not done till she's in the bag. Well, how do you do that? It's pretty simple. You need big dog rods from Grant Rods. For your next rod, call them at 847-577-0848. Building custom rods since 1983.
We had a question come to us asking us how far we had to travel to catch these fish. Do you want to know the truth? 200-300 yards from the lodge. You don't have to move around. Now, of course, when there's people in camp and we're shooting a TV show, a big broadcast camera stuck up in the center of the boat on top of a big guy's shoulder, it's pretty obvious what you're doing. So we have a tendency to pull away from other people by design so we can go out and fish the water. And but to be honest with you, Osborne Bay Century Lodge is an island, sits on an island down in Osborne Bay, and I could throw a rock from their dock and be on big fish every time that rock hits the water. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's an amazing fishery. Absolutely amazing. Hey folks, we have a number of people that are chiming in right now telling us where they are, and I really appreciate that. Join in the conversation. Let us know where you're watching or listening from. I know some people are listening, some people are watching the live feed. And do me a favor, share it if you would with your friends. I put a post up on the Fish and Sticks page last week asking for permission to post the post shows on people's pages, and we got a large response. And if you are at all willing to let us, if you will, I'll use the word politely, but to pollute your page with a couple of posts through the week and keep the activity going on the show that we're doing tonight and going into the future, please by all means drop me a note here on this feed or private message me or send me an email to Bob.m at FishnStixTV.com, and I'll add you to the list and you can help us grow. That's a really, really important thing. There's a guy coming up here that he's a remarkable fisherman. He's a very good friend of mine. And there's been a lot of conversation tonight, both on the chats and on the private messaging, asking me, and this is what the gentleman's questions were. What do we need to do moving forward? Now, we're going to get closer and closer in this next segment to when he's going to be there and to that July period that people are talking about, these fish spread out. Some of these fish go into the rice. Now, Osborne Bay, if you know anything about it, is pockets, lots of pockets of rice. And the fish will migrate right back into this rice as long as the water temperatures don't get too warm, and they're perfectly comfortable. They're in there eating crayfish, they're eating all that kind of stuff. They're eating minnows. They'll ambush the minnows back in there. But Pete and I are going to change it up right now. You've seen us throw the big tubes. You've seen us throw the venom small tubes. You've seen us throw a number of crankbaits, the timber tigers, the fat fishes, the wiggleworts, all of these type of high vibration lures that you can run relatively slow and still get all the action you want to use. Watched all that, but Pete and I are going to take you into a little different situation. Pete is probably one of the best bass fishermen walking that doesn't have to have credits attached to his name. Pete and I have been fishing tournaments since the early 70s together. An incredible fisherman, and he asked me point blank, he said, would you take me up to where you're catching these big smallmouth? I'd like to go up and try that. And the reason for his interest was, number one, the big fish, but number two, there's no competition. You literally have hundreds and hundreds of miles of water to yourself. By that, I mean around the islands and around everything. There's 25 square miles of water encompassing Nivens and Osborne Bay. So when you can go smallmouth fishing up there and know you can go from rock pile to rock pile, from log to log, from point to point, and not have anybody around you, that makes a big difference. That really does. Here's Pete Davids.
I'll back us back in there.
Any more left?
Oh, we'll move on.
Yeah.
There's
Get over by that big boulder over there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do it cautiously because there's a lot of rock in
yeah.
here. And that wind's catching us now. Pete, there's two big boulders right in there.
I know.
Take those fish.
Well, yeah, but the one's a pike.
No. That one's a smallmouth. It's right in there on that rock.
I see, okay, I see.
I'm past it. Yes. Oh, there was a smallie. Watch it come up and tag it.
There may be a rock here that
Can't see. I'm busy looking for the ones
I
I
know.
can't see here. And I know they're out here.
Oh yeah,
Listen to them in there.
that's it. Same fish that keep rolling. Come on, you dog.
We'll go get her. Too close to this rock. The magic is in the weed rock combination though.
Yeah.
It's not in strictly weeds. I'm going to pull up here so you can take the front of that rock
Yeah.
where that fish has been blowing up. Let's see if she'll go. And then we'll work our way on down.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when you have the distance and I'll turn the boat.
Just up the edge of those outer reeds.
Right here? These ones?
Yep.
Okay, I'll turn right there then. And I want to see a 5-6 pounder. They're here.
Yeah.
Well, I've caught a lot of them. Go for it.
Yeah, she's up.
I just had one.
She's up tighter. I just seen her swirl.
Go get her. I just had one tap mine.
Yep.
You're making a lot of noise.
Yeah. For a little fish, yeah.
There you go. Little fish. Pretty though.
Pretty. Very pretty fish.
That one doesn't have a
No, there's not a mark on that.
mark on it.
Nope. Go back and eat some bugs.
This wind is getting a hold of this boat.
Yeah, it's kicking it.
Oh, that's my fish.
Oh, oh.
That fish.
Good one there.
That fish is coming in the boat. This would work for us tonight too, I think, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Noah muskie.
Oh, yes.
A muskie. Okay. How are we doing this?
You're the expert.
I'm not going to show you that fish. I'm simply not going to do it. That was about a 48-inch muskie. Now, what does that tell you? As the season progresses and these fish pull into this rice, guess who else is in there? That's right, muskies. This would be a great time to talk a little bit about the equipment itself. Now, spinning rods and bait casting rods are both appropriate. If you're throwing the crankbaits and you're a spin fisherman, you'd be happy all day long. I would suggest a good super braid if you're going to do that, because you are going to encounter these other toothy critters and your best baits are going to go away if you don't. If you're a bait cast fisherman, which I do 99% of the time, I'm using fluorocarbon in this environment. Sometimes I use a braid, but the problem with braid on a bait caster, because I want to keep the braid really thin, is it will have a tendency to knot, to wind knot, if you will. And I find that disturbing. Now, the downside to fluorocarbon has zero memory. Now, what does that mean to you? Zero memory means the line doesn't stay laid down on the reel. So fluorocarbon, if you're not good at casting, you're not very proficient at casting with your equipment, you're going to have a certain amount of backlash situations, and that's going to slow you down, and you don't want to be slowed down, because when these fish are on the bite, you want to keep moving. So how do you remedy that? You remedy that by using a little bit larger braid than what I would if I were fishing a straight braid. You say you wanted to throw a 40-pound or 45-pound super braid. Give you a little bit more diameter, a little bit more stability when you cast, so you don't get those knots that can be created. And then you tie a blood knot to the fluorocarbon. Make yourself about a 2-foot leader, and you tie a blood knot to it, Palomar knot to your presentation, whether it's a jig, whether it's like we're doing right now with the Cincos, and go to town. And then you probably got the best of all worlds. But any of this will work. In the rod selection over on the spinning rods, guys, gear up with heavier than normal rods on the spinning rods in the big smallmouth environment. We had a gentleman chime in on the Facebook, and he said pound for pound the hardest fighting fish in freshwater. He's probably got a point. Unless you've gone to Brazil for peacock, of course. So that being said, you don't want to be under tackle. in terms of the rod or the line you're using, you're going to break off. You want to get those fish out of that situation that you're catching them in, get them to the boat, get them to release as quickly as possible. So you want to throw a 7 to an 8 foot or 7.5 foot spinning rod, medium heavy. Jim Grant can certainly build whatever rod you want. He's probably got it in his line. I know some of the rods I'm using right now are phenomenal smallmouth rods. And over on the bait casting side, when I'm throwing my super big tubes, I'm throwing those with a 7.5 foot extra heavy. It's not really a flipping stick. It's not a telescoping type rod. It's just a very, very stout rod. I use it in Mexico for Carolina rigging, largemouth bass and El Salto, and I use it for smallmouth bass on Osborne Bay of Eagle Lake. Regular bait casting, your 7 foots, your medium heavies, medium heavies. If you're throwing crankbaits off the bait caster with a lighter super braid or with a monofilament will apply, but be prepared. Those toothy critters are going to take that bait away from you. And remember that selection we were talking about? Well, if this is what you're taking to the water for crankbaits, if you're not geared up with the right stuff, you're going to be coming home with a lot less than you went with. And that's going to harm your wallet just a little bit. Let's catch up now as Pete and I continue down. Now, Pete and I shot an entire show on this one ribbon of shoreline that we're fishing. We're fishing the rice. That's our focus. There's rocks in the rice. It's a combination, rock-rice combination, even some timber in there, but that's where these fish go. Our water temperatures were hovering right there at 65 degrees. So as you can see, it's very warm out. The water's very warm, and the fish are still plenty active in that environment. Under normal situations, when it gets above 65, start pulling out. Start looking to fish a little deeper, back to that probing. But when you're in that 60 to 62 range, those fish are pulled back in there. They're totally comfortable and they're aggressive.
Hit that rock spur off at the end of it. There are some boulders out here.
Just have a big roll in there.
Now, the period that Pete and I are fishing right now has cuffed right up to the first week of July.
Nice one. Okay. See, there's big boulders right here in front of us. I'm going to try to back us out of here.
No, it ain't. It's a big walleye.
Is it a walleye? No, it's a smallie.
It's a
Come on.
Okay.
You got to get your glasses fixed.
Yeah, I cast
That's
it in
right.
there and I seen
That's
a
right.
big swirl.
Slow down. It's been so long since you caught one of those
That's
big
true.
smallies.
That's true.
Oh,
Somebody hasn't even shown me where they're at.
I'm messing with you, and I got one running up here.
There you go.
Hey, that's a nice fish.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But it just did a big swirl when I cast it in there.
Can you get there?
I had it loose once.
It's amazing how they can pull it back down in their throat, isn't it?
Well, it ain't in the throat. It's just, it's out, but it just, I can't reach it. There it is.
Let's see her. Oh!
Aha, okay, okay.
My line jumped tight. Oh, so I won't see her.
Okay. I mean, I cast in there and it's just big.
Oh!
All on them little rocks, huh?
There's one on this little rock.
Yeah, I know.
I can't tell you what it is, though, if it's big or not, because I can't seem to get a hook in it.
Did you have one on this other little?
Yes, right there. I was trying to back the boat out. Here, she followed it across the rock. We got to back the boat out. You think?
Go ahead.
She followed that right over the top of the rock.
Oh yeah?
She's behind it right now. That's a pike.
Get him.
No.
Oh.
I'll leave him for you.
No.
Did you miss one?
I don't know, I felt a tick. And I don't know if it was a fish or a reed or...
Well, that one was a pike. That's a fish. Dynamite.
Little one.
Whoop up on them. Doesn't matter.
Nope. Popped off.
Doesn't matter if they're little or not. 3-pound fish up here is little.
Yeah, that's true. That's 2 fish right on the face of the rock.
Yep. Trying to figure out what to do with this breeze that's taking us in
I
here.
don't know. You see any more of those rocks in here?
That's what I'm kind of looking for.
Yeah.
I don't like being this close to
No.
it.
Here you go.
Where was it though?
Right up in front of that big boulder, I'm sure. Right? Oh,
Oh, it was on the tree, wasn't it?
no, no. It's on this big
Oh, I see.
rock.
I see. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead. There is boulders out here, Pete. I'm
Okay,
gonna
go
move
ahead.
us out of this field because we could be in a really good spot.
Well, I'm thinking it's a spawning.
Yeah. We could be in a pretty good spot here. Try not to get on top of them. There's boulders all over.
Right back there again.
Go get her.
Get far enough back there.
I just heard another one up here on this shore.
Yeah.
Man, there's rocks all over out here, Pete.
Oh!
Miss her?
Yes. I left a memento with her though.
Oh, okay.
She's got my
Look at the boulders.
stinko. Yeah. I'm thinking it's be a spawning day. That's 3 fish off. Oh, look at the minnows. Look at the minnows. Right down there. I don't know if they're minnows or little smallmouth or what.
Well, I'm going to move us forward so we don't
Go
hit
ahead.
that. You want to, let's go make a half circle and go back on that?
Okay. Because I took 2 and there was another one there.
Oh, I missed 2. Well, I mean, I was joking
Yeah.
around with you and
Yeah.
my line goes break. You want me to throw in there?
Go ahead, hit him. You got him? You tell me you come out of there with a pig.
It is.
You rot.
Look at this.
Yeah, yeah. That's 3 fish off that spot.
Oh. Look at this, Pete. Just so you know.
Shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah, you paying close attention, Pete?
I get the little babies and you're getting me wet now.
Oh, come here. Man, I'll tell you.
See? That's big fish there.
Yeah, it is. It's a big fish. Oh. That's a nice fish. That's 4 pounds.
Yes, definitely.
I need to get set up. Go get another one while you're down.
Sinkos are so soft.
Yes, they are.
You get, if you're lucky to get 2 fish off of one, you're good.
Hear him blasting up there?
Yeah, I do. Okay. Let's see if there's another one in there.
Hey, Pete.
Huh?
They pull really cool. I'll tell you, this braid line has a lot of pluses, but it wind knots.
Oh yeah.
It wind knots so easy. Get her?
That's
Yes.
4 fish off that spot.
Yeah.
And I just keep catching the little ones.
That's all right. I like that. That's a nice congregation.
Well,
That's not so little. What are we crying about now?
it's whooping me. It's whooping me.
Yeah, a little. You got a misconception of size here, guy.
Oh, fish are after spawning.
These are nice fish.
Yeah.
Look at that thing. Look at that size of that. There's one of your little ones, Pete. You feel better now?
Good.
You feel better? Huh? You know what they just upchucked?
Minnows?
Nope.
What?
You know what it's throwing up?
Huh?
Larva.
Well, if you're paying attention at all, folks, that's a bug hatch. What is that telling you? You've got the seasons progressing. Now, these fish are way back up in the shallows. Pete referenced spawning fish. These are actually post-spawn fish. Now, there's always going to be a certain lingering part of that society that's going to take that spawning ritual further into the season than what the normal rush will be. So you could always cross the paths of some of those fish. What you can't do in that system, however, is you cannot go in and target those fish. You just can't do it because the dark water makes it impossible to see the beds. We're going to just show you one more little piece here with Pete. Now, Anvar asked me a question, do I know what a net rig is, or have I used a Ned rig? And I said, no, I haven't. Now, Jim Graca is piped in. He's using them. Apparently, he knows what they are. Jim spends a lot more time smallmouth fishing than I do. Most of you guys know that my muskie fishing comes way before smallmouth bass. I love the smallies, but I love chasing those big muskies. Todd asked, too, on the show, when we're going to cover muskies, or when can you see muskies? That's next week, Todd. We broke this down so the gentleman that asked the question about what presentations to use, lures, choices, what kind of information is necessary to filter out what to do, not to do in the system. This is about what he's asking relative to that bait. Now, next week, we're going to cover muskies. We're going to go in depth on the muskies, and yeah, might even show you a couple of 40 inchers. So, yeah, get ready.
Man, that sun is warm. Oh, that's
yeah.
a smallie.
Really?
Yes, I was dragging it back.
And he
Look at the size of this
yes.
smallmouth.
Oh, yes.
I was dragging that thing back.
I'm looking to see if there's another one with him.
I was dragging this fish back.
Oh, yes. I'm going to measure that one, too. Nice one.
There was no dead sticking going on here.
And when they pull and you got that braid,
Yeah.
it just pulls right through your line with
Yep.
your hand.
I gotta get a hold of him. That fish hammered it when I picked it up and started swimming it.
Oh, there, right?
Yeah. You want to see how long she
Yeah,
is?
just measure it real quick.
Just set those off there. 18 and a half maybe? 19 and a quarter.
Yeah.
Actually, almost 19 and a half. No, there
4
is.
plus.
But this is so different than what those fish were doing over there.
Oh,
You bet?
yeah, it took my bait. It took it right off the hook.
Oh, nice fish. There you go, baby. See one?
Something's messing around. I didn't make it.
Want me to show you how to cast that? No comment? Get her?
Yeah, but it's the wrong flavor.
Jakey.
Where's my Cinco?
Missing?
Yep. There you go.
See if it works.
Yep, eating bugs. I'm sure that's what they're doing.
Are we fishing in Canada? Oh, another good fish.
That is. Quit getting me wet.
Holy smokes, Rocky.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This is another 4-pound fish.
You're supposed to show me where they're at so I can catch them.
Oh, I didn't understand totally the strategy you were talking about. Show you where they are so you can catch them. I think this one here, I think it came up so I can
It
catch it.
showed everybody where it was at.
Oh, man. That's another 19 fish.
Tail's roughed up too.
Tail's roughed up. Well, that one wasn't out of bed.
No,
That was chasing.
they're up chasing bugs. Is what they're doing.
Well, you're in the game big time right now because I got to re-rig.
Good.
This is what we're going to end up doing. It's a shame. It's not a shame, but the reality is we came here in hopes to power fish these things.
Yeah.
And the reality is this, we're not going to.
No.
So what we've done, Bob Crone, one of our guys that are with us right now, he's a pretty good hook. Bob Crone came in yesterday after, I don't know, we had, 12 fish or so yesterday.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so Bob Crone came in and he said, hey, look what I'm doing, and he caught 30. So he put us onto this Cinco pattern, and right now it's developing into some pretty nice fish for us, at least on the spots we're fishing. Get in there. This boat's kind of going in sideways. Get her? Thank you. Oh, that one's running. It's a smallie.
Why am I catching little babies?
They know who's the boss.
Yeah.
What can I tell you? You know, I'm going to take a shot back in that rock back there.
Little baby. Just spit up a minnow too.
Hey, I look at it this way. Somebody's got to catch those.
I suppose. Just spit a minnow up.
Let's go, fishy, fishy. Come on. There we go.
There you go. Good.
Oh,
Oh.
oh on cue.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, big girl too.
That's what I seen it jump the first time. That's big fish.
Oh,
Yeah.
come here, girl.
That's what you call a slob. That's another one for the stick.
No, that's okay.
Well, as you can see, folks, we had no problem. Now, we were dead sticking those lures, the Cincos. We're throwing them out, basically letting them set, and we would twitch them a little bit, let it set, twitch it a little bit, and let it set. We weren't aggressive at all. In fact, there's a couple of times you heard me say that I caught this winding it back. But dead sticking is something that Bob Crone came up with. Pete and I, again, we were more power fishing. We were looking at crankbaits, big tubes. We were doing the stuff that we would normally do. The fish weren't on the rock piles and things that we would normally expect them to be. Like I said, this is later in June, not yet quite to July. Water temperatures had elevated. These fish got done with those areas and were moved into those rice areas, and that's what we did. That's how we caught them. You have to be ready to conform to what the fish is doing. They're not going to conform to you. There's just no way in God's green earth that they're going to do that. These fish are going to do what they want to do. You have to figure it out, find it out, and go make it work. So you're going to be throwing tubes, crankbaits. You're going to be throwing smaller tubes and big tubes. You're going to be throwing chuggers, topwaters, walking baits like a Sahara spook. All effective, period. When you have calm waters and warming trends, your topwaters will be more effective. When you've got cooling trends and stuff, the fish fall down in the column. Your crankbaits, probing with your jigs and what have you, should be more productive. And that's about it. I hope we covered what we needed to cover tonight on this particular show. I hope we got the questions answered that were asked. And next week, Anvar, yes. Next week, Todd, yes. Next week, Jim, yes. All you people that are chiming in on private message and on the message here on Facebook, yes, it's going to be muskies. Hey, folks, we couldn't do this without the support of our sponsors. These are the people that make it possible. Without these people, we couldn't be doing what we're doing. So please go out, solicit what they have in terms of equipment or services, and make a better day on the water for yourself by using what we use.
Hi everyone, Bob.m here for Grant Rods. You know, musky fishing's a tough deal, and the job's not done till she's in the bag. Well, how do you do that? It's pretty simple. You need big dog rods from Grant Rods. For your next rod, call them at 847-577-0848. Building custom rods since 1983.
Bring her back. Oh, hold tight. Hi everyone, Bob Mason over here. You know, I've got a place, a very, very special place in my heart. It's Osborne Bay.
It's been excellent. Randy did a great job guiding service.
Randy started taking us out when I was 10, and we've been catching big muskies ever
The
since.
accommodations here are fantastic.
Check out Century Lodge on Osborne Bay. Come on, bring her back.
Oh, look at that. Oh, big fish. Big fish.
This side over here?
That is a 50 fish. Folks, you're seeing it right now. My 100th just came in the net at Witch Bay Camp. Holy smokes, Rocky. She ate that thing.
The summer sun never sets upon the Alaskan pike of the Unoko, in the heart of breathtaking Alaska. Evenings will be shared reliving the battles of monster pike. The Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Hunt is on, aboard the 67-foot luxury houseboat, and you're in command. If you're not, you should be. Contact the Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Adventures by calling 800-440-7453 or email them at mstpa50@gmail.com. Hi everyone, Bob.m here for Grant Rods. You know, musky fishing's a tough deal, and the job's not done till she's in the bag. Well, how do you do that? It's pretty simple. You need big dog rods from Grant Rods. For your next rod, call them at 847-577-0848. Building custom rods since 1983.